Hi everyone, welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. How are you guys doing? And how was your weekend? I hope everyone had a good weekend and that you're taking care of yourself. That's so important, guys. Um, if you fall off a little bit, that's okay. Get right back up the next day and keep going. I know that's what I've been doing, and it's been a little like difficult at times because we're human, and there's days where we just don't feel like doing anything. I know I have those days. I'm pretty sure you guys have days like that as well. But if you fall off a little bit, the next day get right back on and keep going. And don't be too hard on yourself because it takes time to heal, especially if you're going through a lot of trauma, trials, and tribulations, and who knows what else. It takes a toll on your physical and mental health, but it's important to keep going because as you keep going and you persevere through it, you will start to see the results. They may come in slow, but the results will come in. And ask God to help you. Stay in prayer because that's where I stay a lot of times because this is not a one-man show, as I always tell you guys. So, guys, it's just it's one of those days where I'm jumping, hopping, and skipping, and because just taking care of things, it feels like when I take care of one thing, something else comes up, etc. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that, but I'm trying to get as much off my plate as possible so that I can rest. I'm looking forward to a vacation, even if it's a mini one. Self-care is so important, guys, because when you come back from those vacations, you feel refreshed and renewed. So keep moving forward. And remember, I'm not a therapist, a social worker, or a counselor. I'm just someone who shares my personal experiences of everything that I've gone through and how I became an overcomer instead of succumbing to the trials and tribulations that were upon me at those times. And I share some ways that I overcame these trials and obstacles, and perhaps some of these things will resonate with you, and you can apply them within your own situation. Let me know in the comment category if these videos are helping you. So, with that being said, guys, the topic of discussion today is grief will change your life forever. Guys, grief will change your life forever. And I'm talking from experience. It's been hell at times because it's not as bad as it used to back in 2020 when all this stuff happened. And then I would have those moments. For a while, I had those grief moments. Like, I would go into the store and try to shop and get some things, and I would see a picture or something that reminded me of my mother. And I remember one time seeing a picture after she was buried and all. I had a tree planted by her gravesite, and I saw a picture that resembled the tree when I was in one of the stores. And I just had a real bad trigger moment. And everything that was in my shopping cart, I had to push it aside, run out the store, get in the car, hysterically crying. Let me know if you guys ever had that, because at that time I didn't know anything about grief, like to that degree. And it was real bad, guys, because like I said, I don't know if you listened to prior videos in the past when I talked about this, but I didn't have a chance, none of us had a chance to go to a funeral because we were in a shutdown. All we had was a memorial service. And so, and a phone call, the last phone call I had with her where we talked and she said, I love you, and she was having trouble breathing. Losing a loved one is hard, guys, whether it's a parent, God forbid, a child, a spouse, grandparents, brother, siblings, sister. It's hard, guys. And then on top of that, I lost my dog. You know, one of the things that I couldn't understand, and I started doing a lot of research, is the grief moments, because I couldn't go anywhere. One time I I was spending a lot of time at the gym because it was helping me with what the frustration and whatever else I was feeling. Because we were allowed to do that in a supermarket, and that was it at that time. So I had a someone come with me, a friend at that time, and some music. You know how they have that overhead music? A song came on that reminded me of my mom, and I was just in a corner and I couldn't help it, and I was just oh awkward position, and it just, and I realized that I had to do therapy. I had to find a way to get through this because that went on a long time for me, really hard, because I was seeing death after death after death. And remember, guys, I'm a 9/11 survivor. I saw people, you know, I don't even want to talk about that today, but it's been traumatizing. I'm going to use that word because that's what it's been. And I had to work really hard, crawl, bite through trials, tribulations. And I'm going to tell you guys something when I talk about cut off, block, and delete, with people and setting strong boundaries, because going through all these things that I was going through, and the people who were supposed to be there to have my back to support me, and I'm not talking about financially, I'm talking about emotional support, being there. I'm losing my mom, and talking with her on the phone and hear her trying to catch her breath in between conversation. It was devastating. It was really hard. Then, I had already, by the time she was dying, lost 3-4 people at that time already. And my dog died, the year after. But it was just, so going through all of this, and then you having people around you who's supposed to, have your back, lift you up, be there as a source of encouragement, and these people were not there. Their attitude about what I was going through was so nonchalant and so distant and disconnected. It just, it just caused double pain on top of the grief. That's why I don't have a problem today when people are cold and very, like what I'm describing. I don't have a problem setting those strong boundaries. And when those boundaries are overstepped, I just cut off, block, and delete. Because to me, that's the resolution, But because it was just a lot of horrific things happened during that time. I can remember calling an aunt, because my mom was she was just almost gone, or I think she had just passed. And I called the aunt. I was full of tears and crying. And she cursed me out because she's still stuck on when I was 17, a pair of shoes that she bought me when I was 17, and thought she was buying me a pair of shoes, didn't know I had to pay that back. And she's stuck there. And so I was cursed out. And so I started yelling back and said, "You don't have to worry. I will never speak to you again, and I would never contact you again. If you contact me, lose my number. I don't want nothing to do, because this is not how family is supposed to behave." And I was shocked that this was happening. And I have like a large family of individuals, but we're not close due to religious reasons and other reasons I don't want to get into right now. But when when it matters, people should really be there, especially family. Then I had a sibling who had the audacity to say a week after mom's death, because I was just hurting really bad, crying, having those trigger moments, that she should have been why are you crying? She should have been gone a long time ago. And I said, I can't be hearing this. And she repeated it. And I just said, okay, I can't deal with this. And I'm like, this is like some bad type of, drama show that you look forward to seeing, but it's on TV, but this is real life happening. And I'm like, these people are evil to their core. And I realized how evil that these folks are. and I had to disconnect from that. You know, one person out of this huge family contacted me and gave me their condolences. And because they belong to a religious organization and setting that I grew up in, because I didn't have a choice, but as I got old enough to realize that this wasn't for me, I was disconnected from it. But we're supposed to still be family, right? No, no, it doesn't work that way with them. And at the memorial service, we had to have it online, of course, because nobody could leave to go to any funeral. It was a shutdown. I just felt so disconnected there. And it's like, this is not family. And I made up my mind at that time, no matter how hard I had to fight, persevere, crawl, chew through, I don't want any people like this in my life. Because if the script was flipped, I would never do this to folks. And a lot of these people I trusted because family, friends, and I'm including that, and these people were not there. But when they needed something, they expected me to be there. That's what I didn't understand. They expected me to be there and to, take care of them. So that's when my therapist really, shortly thereafter, I started doing therapy. He told me, he didn't have a whole lot of words like I talk now, but what he did say, which helped a lot, is like I talk about the pro and con list. And I did that. And when I noticed that the pro outweighed the cons, that meant I was overgiving. Too much of my time, too much of everything. Being a doormat, everything to people who didn't give a damn about me. Let's say it the way it is. They didn't. And especially during a time where I really needed someone and they were not there. So it took me a long time, the elephant in the room. If you go back a few videos, I did a video on that, to address the elephant in the room. It took me a long time to do that, guys. And when I did it, I was in pain, crying, because to me, I used the metaphor a lot, because it was just like the Titanic. Like, these people got in a lifeboat and left me on it and said, oh, well, there's no more room. Sorry. Get out of this the best way you can. And that's what it felt like to me. And I'm like, family is not supposed to do this. Friends and people and strangers were kinder to me and showed more care to me than my own so-called family. I used to volunteer at a soup kitchen at a church where I used to live. They came with flowers and food and cards, sympathy cards. And even though it was a shutdown, they all came to my house. I don't know, about 10 of them, and they had masks on and they had everything. They prayed for me, all of that. That meant a lot to me, and I'm like, here are these people who are strangers. I don't really know them that well. They come out under these circumstances to support me, but yet my own family. So this is why I just set boundaries and then cut off, block, and delete. Because I didn't understand, why it had to be like this. But I realized that I needed to do something with the grief-stricken moments, and I talked to my therapist about it. I started to do everything I could to get that under control. So I started doing a lot of research about it. So I spent a lot of time alone during that time. Anyway, we couldn't really go out anywhere but to the supermarket at that time. And I learned that it's okay to cry and express my pain. I'm looking at some notes I have here. And, show the scars that I received from the grief, because in a house that I grew up, what stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house. That's the attitude. And don't you dare cry, don't you? So your things that really hurt you and made you feel bad, and you're supposed to just suck that up. And that's how I grew up, learning. And I had to recondition my whole mindset and to see that doesn't help the pain and the grief. It stagnates it. It keeps you stuck. And I had to learn it's okay to cry. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, guys, because it's an outlet for the pain. And when you don't have an outlet for the pain and the grief and etc., it stays stuck within you. And it can lead to health problems, bitterness, all these things. So it's okay to release that, through tears, through to talk about it. All these things is an outlet for release, so that once you release that, you're not carrying all of that with you. And by doing this, you're being true to yourself. When you wear your scars, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, etc., so forth. It means that you can turn that pain into an opportunity, not just to help yourself, but to help others as well, who may be currently going through what you already went through. So don't be ashamed of any of this. Like I said, life is people, situations, circumstances happen and come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. Crying is an outlet for the pain. It releases all of that. It is a sign of strength instead of weakness. We all are human, and it's okay to show that. None of us are perfect. I miss my mom every day of my life, and the loss is so heavy, guys. Especially on Sundays, because that's the time, she used to cook Sunday dinners. I used to, talk with her, have conversations, and it still feels like that loss, that void, When a few folks expressed that I should be over the grief, I felt insulted by this, because grief does not have an expiration date, guys. You can be okay for a little while, and then boom, you see something, you hear something, boom, then you have that grief-stricken moment. You never get over it, but you can get through it, even though the loss is heavy and the pain is deep. Give yourself time to heal. And guys, if your parents and loved ones are still alive today, hug them. Tell them that you love them, because tomorrow is not promised to any of us. And just, spend as much time with them as you can. The worst thing for me is someone bringing more pain to me when I'm already in pain from grief and loss, and then somebody come in and they want to bring more pain. This is where I cut off, block, and delete. And I was surprised at this, because I thought these people had my back and I had a support system, and I realized I didn't, guys. And so, through that pro and con list, I learned a lot about myself and about the people who were surrounding me. And I had to let go and let God. Prayer helped a lot, asking God to help me especially at my lowest moments in my life, those dark moments. And he did, as I took the steps. And it was hard, because it's either swim or sink, and I chose to swim. And I, day by day, step by step, and as I did that, God lifted me back up, guys. He will do that, but you have to do the work, and you don't have to rush to do it. Do it at your own pace. Do something on a daily basis to lift your spirit up. We're in a time too today where we're dealing with a lot of toxicity and people with the hate and the drama and etc. All the negative stuff. And I keep myself away from it. Music helps me a lot. Listening to videos and watching comedy shows. Going out for a walk in nature. Do things that uplift your spirit, guys. Having that favorite meal at your favorite restaurant. Do things to nurture your spirit and soul, your inner child. That's going to help you grow, heal. You never get through it, but you can get over it. Turn that pain into power. Power into a purpose to move forward, to help others as you help yourself. One day at a time, one step at a time, guys. That's how we do this. That's the message today. Thank you for being here. If anyone is going through grief, I also want to tell you guys this, is that I am in the future going to be doing some like one-on-one consultation with people. I'm not a therapist, but I don't mean consultation. I will be talking to people about meeting at their place of business to do some speaking events about grief and pain. And I talk about what I've gone through, and perhaps I can help people in those places, public places as well, to help themselves, with grief and help them to get through these trying times. And if anyone's interested in learning more about that, leave me messages in my in the comment category, and I'll send you my email address and we can talk that way. Also, guys, continue to show up here, because every day we talk about different topics, but it all leads back onto grief and healing. And invite others to do the same. Also, guys, please subscribe to the channel and invite others to do so. That way, when I do come on live, you guys will get a notification and you can join me if you're available. Thank you again. Have a great day, guys. Self-care, self-love. Let that be the key factor in your life. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow. And keep taking care of yourself. This is Lisa, shedding love and light. And you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.